the blocked charging station error message is one that can really drive people nuts. And the reason that is, it'll drive them so nuts, is because they'll get this error message on their app. They'll go out there to the charging station, and the mower will be sitting right there on top of the charging station with nothing in its way. And they don't understand why they're getting this error message, because there's nothing actually physically obstructing the mower from pulling into the charging station and docking properly. You know, there's no tree branch down. There's no dog laying there in front of the charging station blocking it or anything like that. And it can be a real challenge to understand what's going on and why you get this error message over and over again without some kind of physical evidence there to see to make it make sense. So take a look at this 435X here. We set this up on purpose to try to generate this error message to show you guys what can cause this. Now this is going to take a few minutes here because the 435X is a pretty tenacious machine because it's all-wheel drive. And that's why I wanted to use it for this video, because it's not going to give up as easily as a rear-wheel drive mower or the 115H. Because this thing's all-wheel drive, it can compensate for a lot of other stuff. It can run over stuff. It can go uphill, downhill, whatever. So to get one of these to give you that error message, that really says something. But at any rate, you'll see this thing try over and over again here to dock in the charging station. It'll finally give the charging station blocked error message. And once it finally gives up here, then we'll start to explain to you how you can get this error message without anything physically blocking the Automower from docking in the charging station properly. So here we go. It's getting close. Is it going to get it this time? So close. Not quite. And this is where it pulls out of there and eventually just stops and gives up and gives us our error that we're waiting to get. Now this is an Automower coming in with your charging station setting on very level ground. I know that in the manual it says, there can be a slight variance, but the closer you are to level, the better off it's going to be. So when your mower comes in, it's just going to go straight in. No problems there. You can see it'll just push right in, because when it comes in with your charging station level, it is going to have the proper clearance here to be able to lift up on this just a little bit if need be, and just slide right on in there to your charging station tabs. So now I'm going to show you when your charging station is not level. Got a couple pieces of wooden lath here, just a little bit to throw it off. And I'm going to jam these underneath the charging station there to show you what happens when the mower's coming in, if your charging station is bowed down in the center or if it's raised up in the center a little bit. Okay, we have our pieces of lath there under the back side of the charging station, and we got a piece up here under the front side of the charging station. And what happens then is your front and your back of the charging station are up a little bit higher, and it creates this little bit of a divot here. And that can happen over time. The ground gets soft if it's not sitting on a hard surface and it's out in the sun. This plastic can give a little bit, start to sink down in. And what happens then is when the mower's coming into the charging station and it comes up there, and then all of a sudden there you see it just dips the charging station plate down. Now when that goes down in the center here, it pulls down on this part. You can see right here when I do it by hand, watch this part right here. If I push down on it, that weight is going to make this come down. So this is just raised up a little bit, about a 1/4 inch on the front and back. So you're dipping down here about a 1/4 inch in the center, and when this comes in there, it's enough now that it can cause issues with the clearance here. And if this is drooping down just a little bit, your mower can actually smack into this top part here, and it's going to take an extra bit of force for it to be able to push in there. And over time, it's going to get worse and worse. And it's just not going to line up right. So now we take this strip out of the front here, and we have the back end raised up a little bit, it's not quite as bad. And that's what they're saying in the manual. You could have that little bit of a deviation there. You don't want to have it high in the front and back and have that bow in the middle. And the other thing you don't want to have is the front and the back arching down where your center is raised up. So I'll set this up here and show you what that looks like. All right, we got both of our wood strips here under the middle of our charging station. And now what happens is you have this screwed down in the front and in the back. And in the middle, it is humped up. So the Automower goes to drive in there, and now all of a sudden it's going uphill, and then at the last second, it's got to try to go back downhill, and it can't do that all the time. So you can see there, it's colliding with the top of the charging station. And it'll do that for a while, and then after time goes by, it's just going to wear in more and more. You know, this part's going to sink more, this part's going to sink more, because you have the weight of the back end here where it's parked in the charging station. You have the weight of the front end up here, plus the housing, you know, and that's where it's stapled down at. So that will get worse over time, and the mower will just smack into that, and it could create an issue where it comes in there, but it's not actually making good contact with the strips here on the mower to be able to charge. And it could also just smack into that enough to where it gives you that charging station blocked error, because it hits a couple times and decides to give up and comes back out, and it does a run around there until the battery goes dead because it can't figure out how to get in there. Now, another thing to watch for is if you have it too high in the back end, you got everything stapled and screwed down here at the front, you got it screwed down at the back, but you know, as time goes by, as we keep saying, you know, stuff can settle, things can move, and the sun blaring down on this can cause this to kind of warp and let it flex to the contour of the ground. So now you got that end back there that's much higher than the front end. The mower comes in. If there's nothing under here to support it, the charging station is going to bow down. But even if it doesn't, and the mower can still make contact with the charging station, it's going to go in there. And over time, if this keeps getting worse and this is able to slope more, you're going to get times where the mower might actually start to free roll out of there a little bit as things start to wear. And you know, this gets a little bit sloppier here. Your charging station starts to kind of bow from being in the sun and the ground shifting and all that stuff. So there's another way that you can get that charging station error, or have your mower not charging even though it looks like it's right there in the charging station. And on that all-wheel drive mower, we showed you that one there. That one was every which angle. That one was trying to go in at a slant and uphill, and it was every possibility of ways that it could smack in the charging station and not get lined up. But here you're seeing examples of just simple little things that can happen that can cause that same error. And you're going to go out there and you're going to say, well, why isn't it going in there? I can just take and shove it right in there. You know, why can't it just drive in there on its own? There's something wrong with this thing. It must be the GPS. It must be, you know, the guide wire. It's got to be something. Call the dealer, get them out here. Warranty, warranty, warranty. Right? Isn't that how it goes? It's always warranty. But you can't warrant the ground moving. You can't warrant the ground shifting, or you know, your soil washing away or things like that. That's something you got to just keep after, and every so often, again, just check it out. You can look out there. If your charging station looks pretty flat, you're good to go. Doesn't hurt to just move it around a little bit, or you know, when you pull it in for the winter time, when you sit it back down in springtime, you know, throw some sand under there, get it all leveled up. I've seen some people where theirs actually gets to the point where it's bowed that bad and the mower comes in and it can't line up. It just hits and it doesn't charge and it doesn't charge. And they'll actually put like some weight on here to push everything down and try to get it lined up. You know, that's stuff you want to try to avoid if all possible. It doesn't take much to throw some dirt or sand under your charging station and just get it leveled back up a little bit more. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, you still don't want it to be one of those situations like we showed you with that all-wheel drive mower. You don't want to have your charging station sitting all cattywampus like that. So now one more thing here to note, as far as the charging station blocked error message. we're using a 300 series mower here to show you all this stuff. This is a 300 series charging station, and when you have a 300 series Automower, on the bottom of the charging station, you have these two areas right here. You have one here where it says guide, and you have one here that says guide. That's a lot like on the 115H. It has the one right through the center because you have to have the guide wire line up right in the center, or that mower won't line itself up right to back into the charging station. Well, your 300 series is actually a lot like that. If you're having a lot of errors with charging station blocked, or the mower's just not hitting the charging plates just right, you want to make sure that you have your guide wire coming down through here and running through this row right here. If you are looking down at the charging station, it would be on this side over here. And the reason for that is when the Automower is coming into the charging station and it is following the guide wire, it always travels on the left side of the guide wire when you're looking in at the charging station. So the mower is going to be traveling to the side of that guide wire, which is going to be running right through here, right through there. So if the mower is running right next to this wire right here, that is going to put it in perfect position to go straight into those charging plates. That is why they have that there. So even though you have one guide wire, you don't want to just run it straight down through the middle underneath there. It could cause you problems later on with your mower docking properly in the charging station. So make sure to follow that when you're installing one, or when a dealer's installing one, or if you're having problems going down the road. Always check that out first, because it could just be a simple adjustment of that guide wire, and that could solve a lot of your problems. So that was a look at some of the more common issues that can cause this charging station blocked error message to pop up. Now, there's plenty of other things that could cause this. You know, there's fluke things that could happen. There could be something physically blocking the charging station, but a lot of times it's just little things like this that you could solve on your own without having to call the dealer out to take care of it. And this is something you should look into every year when you put your charging station back out there for the summer. You know, make sure it's nice and level. Make sure that the ground in front of the charging station isn't all rutted up and there's not a big divot worn there or anything. Keep everything nice and flush and as level as possible, and you'll have a lot less odds of having this charging station blocked error message. Now here's another look at our 435X. We put a little bit of dirt under the one side of this charging station. It's still in the same spot. Guide wire's in the same location. The mower's still the same mower. And because we leveled things up a little bit, look at this. It's going to come straight back in there. It's going to give that little push right there, and that's it. It's in the charging station, docked on the first try, just because we leveled that up a little bit more. And in that scenario that you just saw there with that 435X actually being able to park now in that charging station, we could still do a lot more work to make that transition there into the charging station go a little smoother. But that was about 3 shovelfuls of dirt right there that we just threw under that charging station quick and flattened it out. And look at the difference it made. So hopefully this video has helped you guys out and answered some of your questions as to why you might be having these charging station blocked error messages over and over again with nothing there in front of your charging station. If you have any more questions or need any more information about Automowers, or you're looking to order parts for your Automower, send us an email at roboticmowerservices@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our channel, and we thank you for watching.